Once upon a time, in a bustling little town, lived a man named Ken. Ken was famous for one thing, his noodles. People would line up for blocks just to get a taste of his delicious, savory broth and the perfectly cooked noodles. His little stall, Ken's Noodle Nirvana, was the talk of the town. Everyone agreed Ken's noodles were the best. But Ken had a secret. He was incredibly greedy. Every night, after closing his stall, he would count his earnings with a wide, selfish grin. He loved the clinking sound of coins and the crisp feel of banknotes. He wasn't just happy. He was obsessed with making more and more money. One day, as he was serving a long line of customers, he had an idea. A wicked, greedy idea. He thought to himself, my noodles are so popular. What if we give people a little less in each bowl? They love them so much, they probably won't even notice. I can use fewer ingredients, save money, and my profits will skyrocket. The thought excited him. The very next morning, he put his plan into action. When his first customer, a kind old woman named Mrs. Cable, ordered her usual bowl, Ken carefully measured out a smaller portion of noodles and added a little less broth. He handed it to her with a smile, his heart pounding with a mix of guilt and greedy anticipation. Mrs. Cable, who had been coming to his stall for years, looked at the bowl. She seemed a bit puzzled. Ken, my dear, she said gently, this bowl seems a little emptier than usual. Ken's heart skipped a beat. He quickly replied, oh, it's a no, deeper bowl, Mrs. Cable. It just looks that way. Same amount of deliciousness, I promise. Mrs. Cable nodded, though she still looked unsure. Throughout the day, Ken did the same thing with every customer. A little less for this person, a little less for the person. Some people noticed, others didn't. But by the end of the day, when Ken counted his money, he was overjoyed. He had made much more profit than usual. It worked. He cackled to himself. I'm a genius. He continued this practice for weeks. His pockets grew heavier, but his head grew colder. He started cutting more corners. He used cheaper vegetables, less meat, and he diluted his famous broth with water. The rich, savory flavor that had made him famous began to fade. It was becoming weak and watery. Soon, his customers couldn't ignore the changes anymore. One afternoon, a young man named Tom, a regular customer, took one sip of his noodles and he frowned. Ken, what happened to your noodles? They taste bland, and there's hardly anything in the bowl. Ken, flustered, gave his usual excuse. It's a new recipe, lighter and healthier. But Tom wasn't convinced. He shook his head and walked away, disappointed. Tom was a popular young man, and he told his friends about his experience. Ken's noodles aren't what they used to be, he warned them. He's just being cheap now. The news spread like wildfire. The long line outside Ken's Noodle Nirvana began to shrink. First, it was just a little shorter. Then, it was half its usual length. Within a month, there were days when only a handful of people showed up. His once bustling stall was now quiet and lonely. Ken grew desperate. He couldn't understand what was happening. Why aren't people coming anymore? He wondered aloud, staring at his empty stools. His profits, which had once soared, were now lower than they had ever been. He was actually losing money because he had to throw away so much unsold food. One evening, as Ken was sadly packing up, Mrs. Cable walked past. She was the only customer who still came, mostly out of habit and kindness. She saw the sad look on his face. Ken, she said softly, what's wrong? You look so unhappy. Tears welled up in Ken's eyes. He finally confessed everything. He told her about his greedy plan to give smaller portions and use cheaper ingredients. He admitted how he had tricked his loyal customers. He thought he was being clever, he sobbed. He thought he could make more money, but now, I've lost everything. My customers, my reputation, my happiness. Mrs. Cable listened patiently. When he finished, she placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Ken, she sighed, money is not the most important thing in life. The trust and the happiness of your customers are your real treasures. You weren't famous just for your noodles. You were famous for the joy and the satisfaction you gave people. That's what they paid for. Her words hit Ken like a lightning bolt. He finally understood. His greed had blinded him. He had been so focused on earning more money that he had destroyed the very thing that made his business successful, his quality and his customers' trust. Feeling a deep sense of remorse, Ken knew he had to make things right. The next day, he put up a large sign outside his stall. It read, to all my valued customers, I am truly sorry. I let greed get the better of me. From today, I promise to serve the best, most generous bowls of noodles in town. Your first bowl is on me. As a token of my apology, he went to the market and he bought the freshest, highest quality ingredients, no more matter the cost. He spent hours simmering his broth, making sure it was as rich and flavorful as it used to be. He was no more longer thinking about profits. He was thinking about making his customers happy again. When he opened his stall, people were hesitant at first. They saw those signs and they whispered among themselves. A few brave souls, curious about his apology, decided to give him another chance. Ken served them a heaping bowl of noodles, filled to the brim with delicious ingredients and that wonderful, savory broth. The first bite was a revelation. Wow! One customer exclaimed. This is it? This is the Ken's noodles you remember. The news spread quickly. People started talking about how Ken had changed and how his noodles were better than ever. Slowly but surely, the customers returned. The long line reappeared, even longer than before. People were happy to pay for a get honest bowl of noodles. Ken's stall was once again filled with the sounds of happy slurping and the cheerful chatter. Ken was working harder than ever, but he had never felt happier. He smiled and he talked with his customers, asking them about their day. He learned their names and their stories. His stall was no more longer just a business. It was a community. He still made a good living, but he never counted his coins with the same greedy obsession. He learned that his true wealth wasn't in his cash box, but in the smiles of his satisfied customers and the pride he felt in his work. And so Ken the noodle seller became a legend in his town not just for his delicious noodles but for the valuable lesson he learned and he shared. That honesty, quality, and the generosity are the true ingredients for success and the happiness. His story became a reminder to everyone that greed might offer a shortcut to profit, but it leads to a dead end. True and the lasting success is always built on a foundation of trust and the integrity. Thank you for watching this story. We hope you enjoyed it and learned a valuable lesson. Do and forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more English stories that are not only entertaining but also teach important life values. See you next time.